I think 100,000 is the next halving level. And at that level, how far above do you go? Because you're always going to shoot through that when the momentum happens. When do we hit 100,000? I don't know. Sometime between.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Crypto. In today's video, Mark Yusko, CEO of Morgan Creek Capital Management, makes a bold Bitcoin price prediction for the next bull market. Yusko starts by explaining the genius behind Bitcoin's halving, which keeps miners profitable despite their rewards being cut in half, thus causing Bitcoin prices to rise. Yusko also notes that the limited supply of Bitcoin leads to significant price movements both up and down, which in turn attracts speculators that cause the price to inflate. Yusko is certain that the bottom is in for Bitcoin, and predicts that the next bull run will begin this summer in anticipation of the halving. Also, the launch of CBDCs in July could be a huge catalyst for that, as people will look for ways to opt out into Bitcoin. According to Yusko and based on past cycles, Bitcoin's fair value for this halving is $100,000, though the price could go much higher due to speculation. As for when we will hit the target, well, let's just say he is very optimistic in his forecast, so let's listen to Yusko's Bitcoin bold prediction for the next bull run. But before we do, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we bring you daily content on the latest crypto news. And now, let's jump right into the video.
If you think about where Bitcoin is today, I made the case that June 15th last year was the end of crypto winter. Right? Okay. That was the end of crypto winter, and we entered crypto spring. Now, crypto spring doesn't mean straight up. Crypto spring actually means flat-ish for the 15-month period between crypto winter and crypto summer. Usually the market's pretty flat with a slight upward bias. And that's kind of what we had. I think we made the low on June 15th last year of like 17,800. And today we're at, 23,000 or whatever. And so that's a slight upward bias. Now everybody says, oh, but what about we hit 15,000? Yeah, we had Hurricane Sam. We had freaking idiot Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline blow up the trust in the system for a few weeks and cause a lot of pain and a lot of liquidations of levered trading accounts. But that to me is no different than the fact every 10 years or so it snows in March in North Carolina.
Sure.
I will argue May 9th, my birthday, my 60th birthday actually, this year is the beginning of summer, crypto summer. Why do I pick that day? Well, it's 9 months before the next halving in February of next year. And that's usually the way it works. Whether it's May 9th or May 15th, it doesn't really matter. But I'm picking May 9th because I like that day. And I will argue that when summer starts, then we get the next parabolic move up. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you think about the halvings have been interesting in the sense that each halving has added a zero, meaning it 10 times the market cap of Bitcoin. So the first halving 10 to 100, then 100 to 1,000, then 1,000 to 10,000, and then the next one will be 100,000. But Mark, we went to 69,000, right? But that doesn't mean the value went to 69,000. That means that human beings priced a small amount for about 11 nanoseconds at 69,000 because people do get stupid, right? They lever up, and then you had all the demand from the ETF, and you had Sailor buying it. So yeah, we got to stupid levels, and then we crashed. Now we crashed 74% this time instead of 84%. That was kind of cool. So we had 84, 84, now 74. So that's actually a good thing because it means we're making higher lows. And so 100,000 to me is the next fair value. I think 100,000 is the next halving level. And at that level, how far above do you go? Because you're always going to shoot through that when the momentum happens. Because the genius of the halving is, if you think about of all the things in Bitcoin, right? The fixed supply, the proof of work, all the things about it are just absolute mad genius. The super genius point to me is the halving. because it creates an upward momentum in price that attracts investors. What do you mean, Mark? Well, if you think about it, if I got all my miners and they're all getting a certain number of block rewards, their price of machines is fixed, their price of electricity is fixed, and suddenly you cut the block rewards in half. Well, now a whole bunch of the miners go out of business unless price rises. So the price adjusts to keep the miners in business because we need the miners to secure the network. That's how it works. And so, but then what happens is anything that starts to move attracts attention, and it attracts investors and speculators and traders. And so the price starts to move more. And when there's limited supply and increasing demand, price rises. Well, then you get a speculative blow off and then a crash. And that's why you get the cycles. But then the next halving occurs and it pushes the price. So we keep making these higher lows. And that's why the value of the network is following this exponential Metcalfe's law curve. Actually, it's more like a parabola. And I think that is the genius of, well, there's a lot of genius things, but I think that's one of the incredible genius things of it. So 100,000, when do we hit 100,000? I don't know. Sometime between, Q4 of this year and Q2 of next year, sometime in that range. And again, it doesn't have to happen that way, but there's so many different things. Now, look, July is going to be really interesting. What happens when there is this CBDC in the US and a whole bunch of people flock to it because they're afraid of the banking system? But what happens if a bunch of libertarians and freedom, self-sovereignty people say, you know what? I'm outie. And a whole bunch of money flows into Bitcoin.
Sure.
The thing about Bitcoin that's hard to handicap is supply and demand. If you think about how many Bitcoins never trade, right? They literally haven't traded for year or years in some cases, and some will never trade because the multi-sig wallets have been blown up. But the bottom line is that the free float of Bitcoin is very low, which means it doesn't take much incremental demand to really spike the price. Now, conversely, it doesn't take a lot of liquidations to make the price go down. And there's conspiracy theorists out there this morning saying, this is all part of the plan. The Fed's going to crush Bitcoin right before July. It's going to zero. I'm like, okay, 430 times people have declared Bitcoin dead.
Yeah.
Literally dead. I mean, there's even a website that tracks it. It ain't dead. It ain't going to zero. The technology is not going away. That technology is just better.
Yeah.
It says, but we're going to have that same experience with the CBDC. Yeah, you will. It's fact.
But it comes with
a cost. And that cost is the government could wake up and say, yeah, too many bad tweets about COVID, your money's worth 80 cents on the dollar.
Yep.
Or, Walmart paid us a little extra this month, so your money doesn't work at Target this month. Seriously, you could do that? Yeah, they could. I'm not saying they will, but they could. So I think it heightens the need for opting out with a portion of your wealth into something like Bitcoin. I think it says you should have a contingency plan for, what do I do if they mandate? What if they said tomorrow, banks are illegal except for the Fed? That could never happen. Really? It certainly could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it certainly could happen. What if they said, your cash no longer works? Only CBDCs work. It's kind of scary. I do think we all have to realize that people at the top want a certain outcome. We who believe in self-sovereignty and the freedom that Bitcoin allows and a decentralized world allows is antithetical to that. And so the then they fight you phase is going to last a while.
What do you think of Yusko's Bitcoin price prediction for 2023? Is it possible for Bitcoin to reach $100,000 this year? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. This is Let's Talk Crypto, and we'll see you in the next video.